apologize about the audio being different, but I don't apologize about anything. We're talking about circles and lemniscates. Yeah, sure, it's a recap. The sine is y over r, so our r is going to go around the y-axis when we're dealing with sine. The sine bounces between -1 and 1, but you have negative r's in there too. That was in the review. This guy, boom, cosine, is x. That's why the circle's on x. And that's what I'm talking about next. No, wait. The maximum value of cosine is 1, so that's how big our circle is. If we had a coefficient in front of it, it would go out that far. Lemniscates. Here that coefficient is much bigger, so that means your r's are eventually going to be negative when the cosine's ever negative, so you get a loop-de-loop, and that last one was cosine, so it was on x, now sine. Okay, sure. So now we're getting a cardioid y, because they're eventually going to be equal y, because the sine is -1 when theta is 270. That's why we get that there. And then that 3 on the top, that should be a 6, because that's when the cosine is 90. That's 1. That means 3 plus 3 is 6. I'll catch that and edit. Explaining the 0. Okay. So what's next? Oh. More lemicons. This time, the coefficient is bigger. Alright, so what does that mean? That means when cosine's negative, it's never going to be 0. So what does that mean? That means you're never going to get 0, but it's going to subtract. When I say it, I mean the cosine. It's going to subtract from the 3, but it's going to subtract at most 2. So your smallest value is going to be 1. Your largest value is going to be 5, and that's what that is. The cosine of 0 is 1, so 2 plus 3 is 5. More lemniscate. That one's much, much bigger. That means when you're subtracting 1, doesn't mean much. And it's the sine, so it affects the y value. Cosine affects the x value. When the sine of 0 is 0, so it starts at 3, boom, that big value right there, that should be 4. Why? Because the sine of 90 is 1, and 1 plus 3 is 4, so that's 4. It goes around, and then we get flat down here. Why? Because the sine is negative in the third and fourth quadrant, so it's subtracting from 3, and that's why it's flat down there, see? And I suppose this guy could have been a little bit more articulate about that. I don't know. Zoe, it's good to see you. I thought that after I would never... Spoiler alert.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.